What's going on, guys? It's been a long time since the last time we actually, I guess, did anything like this together. Uh, I've been away for a while, obviously, but that's neither here nor there. Today, our discussion is our boy Legion, and I know his update's been out for a while, and I know a lot of people are really hyped about it, and we're expecting it to be great. It is pretty great. But I'm seeing a lot of videos of people, I guess, trying things out and unsure of what's like combinations here and what could work there. And a lot of people are obviously trying things with the never sleep pills, and that's great. But today, what I want to do is I want to go over builds for everybody. I want to go over builds for the people that play him casually, the people that play him uh, a little more competitively, and for people at the top of the ranks. Um, Currently, I haven't played a whole hell of a lot this season. I was playing a lot more in the last few, simply because Evil Dead came out, and I will be making some videos on that. But starting off, I'm going to be just making this very clear. There's going to be a ton of add-on combinations and a few perk combinations, uh, just because the perks don't really change too much once you start getting to the top level. There's a lot of repetition in them. This right now, what you're seeing, this is actually the build I go minus the add-ons. This was something that I was just playing around with, having some fun. Just because I am an Ash, so I can have a good time with the survivors. But this is something that I've enjoyed for a build. Usually, what it will consist of is something like that, or even like Eerie Button instead of the Mischief List, because I think the move speed is perfectly fine to get you to where you need to go. Even with the allotted time, a lot of people will drop pallets sooner rather than just waiting for you, and some even will take that little, uh, I guess, ego challenge at the pallet and see if you swing through. Most of the time, you're just going to be able to get the hit anyway, and sure, they end your chain. It doesn't matter. You got the hit, you got an injury, you got a chase now. So this is what I've been running recently. Pop Goes the Weasel helps for a lot of regression in case you get a chase that goes long, because he still is an M1 killer at the end of the day. Corrupt Intervention just gives me that little extra time to kind of get some chases going. Lethal Pursuer finds me where they're most grouped up. That's the whole point of it, is I want to get the most stabs out so that Thanatophobia starts ticking and keeps the first few gens as slow as they can be, and potentially even get a down right away. Now, I'm going to start with the simple. If you're playing Legion with no add-ons at all, and that's the way you've always played them, you're fine. You're going to be fine. Chaining hits is going to be a little bit difficult due to the fact that they did reduce the amount of time that you are in Frenzy compared to before, but it is still very possible. My recommendation to you would be make sure you have a lot of smaller map offerings if you want to be more successful with the chain hits. Um, Otherwise, if you're just going to play kind of how he used to be, that's fine. Um, it's not really an issue with that. I mean, no add-on Legion is always going to be the weakest form of Legion, and that's not saying that the killer itself is weak. The killer is fine, but the moment you get to those big maps like Temple of Purgation or any of the Red Forest maps for that matter, or the maps with some tricky loops like Haddonfield, like Ormond, where they can avoid the hit for a little bit longer than what you would like them to, that's where this is going to be a lot more difficult, and where some of the add-ons would have made that little bit of a difference. But still very viable, always going to be viable, especially now since you have a way to down people in those scenarios that you get multiple stabs. You just got to watch for the dead hards. That's the only thing I would say, is if you're on that final stab, wait. Just wait and see. Don't stab right away when you get up to the person again. Don't stab from a distance. Just wait and see. If they're about to make it to a pallet, I would recommend at that point, because they're probably going to dead hard just to get past you, do the lunge. Lunge as far as you can, and you will probably get stunned by the pallet, but you will also get the hit detection and down them. It's happened to me a lot more than I thought it would, but a lot of these survivors just mistime it because they panic throw the pallets. So that's going to be my one tip to those playing without add-ons. Also, when going through perks, obviously there's, you know, the typical perk combination that's going around right now with the Scourge Hook from the artist and Dead Man Switch. You could also, if you don't want to do like Lethal Pursuer, another one that I was always looking at as I just walked past, there you go, Call of Brine. Call of Brine's really just solid for any sort of kicking build. And with Thanatophobia as well, you slow down gens a lot. And if you're not into the Corrupt Intervention, honestly, Barbecue's always a safe pick. You could even do something like Deadlock to delay it. Or, because I have been getting stunned a lot recently, Enduring, never bad. That is specifically for those that aren't, using add-ons. That is typically what I recommend, is a bit more on the gen protection end of things. Even Jolt. Jolt is actually one that I've been more fond of recently. The only issue is like it doesn't work with your power because it does say basic attack. That's kind of unfortunate, but I mean, if it didn't work that way, you know, Huntresses and all that would be quite insane, quite nutty. And I mean, a lot of these builds are going to have Scourge Hook Pain Resonance. Like, I'll just be honest, that is just arguably such a great perk right now that it's going to have a lot of that. It probably won't have the Dead Man Switch combination. I think I actually only have a couple that have the Dead Man Switch combination, but I just don't want to put a lot in there because it just sounds like rinse and repeat then. And Legion's supposed to be their own. All killers should have their own kind of build. It is a strong perk. That one's going to be like staple along with Thanatophobia. So these two you're probably going to see through most of the builds, and this can easily be switched out with Ruin, switched out with Pop, switched out with Jolt, even if you don't have either of those. There's plenty of things you can do. They're not going to be as good as the Scourge Hook, but they still give you the gen regression that you look for with Scourge Hook. Now then, moving on. Let's start at the very beginning of add-ons. I'm going to give you guys combinations for literally everything that you could. So for the Blindness add-on, this is going to be your for fun players, honestly. Or, honestly, even the ones that run no add-ons, because this Blindness still doesn't do anything. Doing that to Survivors is not going to make or break anything. Survivors aren't going to give a shit. They just aren't. If they're running like a super fucking altruistic empathy build, then congrats. You countered that one person that you see every like 30 games. Other than that, it's a brown add-on, so it's not meant to be great. It is what it is. Blindness, I hope one day they make better, but if you're going to combine this with anything, honestly, combine it with more of the smiley face pins. Just because. The other thing that I did think of, though, is Stolen Sketchbook. That way, the people that, recover from deep wounds, now they can't see their item. That's the only thing I ended up coming up with through all my playtesting that can somewhat make sense with this, and even that's a stretch. But in my opinion, stay away from it, or if you're doing no add-on, you can run it. It's still not an add-on, in my opinion. It really isn't. It's one of those that Legion was always going to have. Legion's always going to have a shit add-on. All killers always have a shit add-on. Next up, Scratch Ruler. Reducing the charge speed by 5 seconds is significantly better than what it used to be. I'm pretty sure the Etched Ruler used to be only like 3 seconds, something like that. Or maybe it was 2.5. It might have been 2.5 or 3.5. But it hardly did anything. You used to have to run both ruler add-ons to actually get any value, and that's basically what this is both rulers combined. And for this, honestly, if you're running this, don't run this. This is literally just the better version of Scratch Ruler, so if you're going to run Scratch Ruler and reduce the time, then I would honestly say run like a Fuming Mixtape. The reason why is because you want to be in your power then regressing the generators passively. But you want to have your power back up when you get into the chase or when you see groups. Now, running it with like anything else just hardly makes any sort of sense. Like, what in this even would work? Because it's just 5 seconds off. Like, you can technically run everything, but nothing like meshes with it well. Uh, Anything that reduces the charge speed, yeah, I could just always throw like a Filthy Blade on there. I could throw the BFF. I could throw whatever I want on there besides Julie's mixtape. I could throw whatever I want on there, and sure, it'll work because I'm just getting my power back sooner. If you really, really want to have something like that, you could also, I mean, Never Sleep Pills kind of works with just about everything, but getting it back in time, you could also just run it with the Mischief List. Mischief List was next on the list anyway to talk about. 2 more seconds on Feral Frenzy. That's great. That's honestly all you need. Like, 2 extra seconds should get you to most chain hits, and if you get to the point where you're running and they're still not in view, and you have a good maybe quarter of that bar left, you shouldn't have gone that way. Plain and simple. If once you play Legion enough, you'll know what your distance is that you can cover. If you see someone from like max range on your Killer Instinct, do not go towards them. Like, I'm just being flat out with you. Unless you're running like a Mischief List, Never Sleep Pills for whatever reason, then you can probably make it. Sometimes Never Sleep Pills with this will make it, but for the most part, just don't. But moving on fully to Mischief List. Mischief List, combine this with literally everything. Don't do it with Smiley Face. Just don't run this add-on. You can even run it with the Friendship Bracelet, Never Sleep Pills. Adding the duration is always very helpful. I find that the absolute best, well, not the absolute best, but one of my favorites is like this, I said at the beginning, but another one is the BFFs. Love this. Love the fact that we have a token add-on, and love the fact that it's Legion, of all people. Because his power, especially now, always feels like a mini quest. Like, oh, go out, get those 4 stabs, and down someone with the 5th. I can do that, no problem. Plus, filling this up for 15, very, very quick compared to the PTB. PTB was 30, and 30 could happen, but you really had to force smaller maps. You really had to force grouping. It didn't feel natural to get it, and a lot of games could end before you get the chain hits if you were just trying to get the chain hits there. But this, I mean, you get 4 chain hits in a row, and the 5th especially, you basically have it. You basically have it done, and then you just need a couple hits. So getting this done is a lot better, and the Mischief List helps get you there a lot quicker because you have that extra time to get things done. It also works with Human Mixtape. I can't wait to talk about this add-on because I'm so happy about them doing this. Works with Iridescent Button greatly. And actually, Edged Ruler could kind of work with that too. I didn't really talk about that too much, but I mean, if you're just going into your power to vault a pallet and break it, you can. I don't find it super efficient, but it is something you could do. For Mischief List, you could also do with a Frank's Mixtape, the extra time. Yeah, this will be something. This will be another discussion. And I mean, the other ones that just cause these status effects are always nice because by the time they mend, someone that has, say, the broken status effect or the hemorrhage status effect, if you chain hit someone and they mended right away, and then you go off, hit someone else, and then see that theirs is coming back, you could just turn right around and you could get them. I mean, you could catch them sleeping. So, next up on our list of things to talk about is the Friendship Bracelet. And this is one... I'm really confused on it. Like, you increase your duration... the duration of lunges during Feral Frenzy by 0.3 seconds. I get it's supposed to be a longer lunge. That's basically all they're saying, but... like, now I'm kind of curious if, is this... No, yeah, see, like, I thought so. It's worded very weirdly for me, is you increase the duration by 0.3 seconds. But yet this just says increases the distance of your next lunge. Anyways, doing this, you're really only ever going to combine it with Mischief List or Never Sleep Pills, just because you're not fast enough to catch most people. Besides that, as much as I've looked through this over and over and over again, you have nothing that really favors that lunge. You could kind of make an argument for BFF just to get them sooner, but I would say rather just run the Mischief List if you're gonna do that. Yeah, so this one I'm kind of confused on. I didn't really make too many, I guess, videos, or not videos. I didn't really make too much of an effort to make a build for this or to make it work. I just kind of played it a couple times and was like, yeah, I hardly noticed the difference. Like you notice it a lot more if you do like a max range where you're like, oh hey, yeah, I should hit them from here, and then you notice that you hit them pretty comfortably, or then you notice like, oh, I lunged a little bit further, and you think, oh, I'm gonna miss it, and then you just barely make the connection. It really only saves, in my opinion, it saves a step. That's it, just one single step. So if that makes or breaks it for you, there you go. That's pretty much all I found out, is that it makes the difference of one step. So you can either walk that extra step with how fast you go, or you can just lunge. I mean, it's also risky lunging from a distance. They give you more time for dead hard, more time to get to pallets, more times to get just around a corner, and then the auto aim just fucks you. So I never recommend to people to lunge from a distance unless they are full health and wide out in the open. Then go ahead, get that lunge as soon as possible. Or if you're at the end of your frenzy. But that's like the few scenarios that this would work out. You'll probably end up getting the value out of this add-on, which isn't much to begin with. You'll probably get it once every 15 games, and that's like being really generous on it. I hate to talk down about some of these add-ons because I do like that there's changes. I do like that there's uniqueness in it, minus smiley face. This is garbage. But I do like that there's uniqueness and that they're trying, and I appreciate that. I really, really do. I appreciate Behavior giving some effort to Legion after hating them for years since their release. So I'll give them this. It's still not the shittiest add-on. This is going to be by far the shittiest add-on, and this still isn't even like the bottom 3, which I'll talk about later. Never Sleep Pills. This one has honestly taken Legion by storm. A lot of content creators actually really like this because at 10 seconds, yes, you move at the same as your base movement speed, blood points don't fucking matter, and 10 seconds added on to Verifying Seed. Mischief List, you got 12 seconds. This one is so versatile, and it is insane how crazy this is, because you look at this and you're like, oh, it's a joke add-on. I see the blood points. It's a joke add-on. No, it's 10 seconds that they give you, which is ridiculous for any other blood points add-ons. You can go to any other killer and their blood point add-on doesn't do anything but hurt them. This one hurts you, helps you, and then helps you a little bit more. Just gives you that little tip of blood points. But if you want to combine anything with Never Sleep Pills, you have a wide range of stuff. Obviously, Mural Sketch makes it that little bit better because you get that point where you get that more movement speed, and eventually, like once you get to the third chain hit, you're moving fairly fast. It's not how you would be in base, which base is like 5.2. But you're moving fast enough to, I guess, just make more chain hits work, or at least figure out what your next move is. And that's the thing. If this add-on was in a world where you got 5-man chain hits, 4-man chain hits, super consistently across every single map, this add-on would actually be, would be kind of bad, honestly. If we were getting chain hits from base kit already, then yeah, you'd think the extra 10 hits would be nice, but then that's when you lose the movement speed. And the movement speed would make the difference. But if if you're not, and you got bigger maps, like again, Red Forest, and you see someone at the tip, you can probably make it now, because you have 10 whole seconds to get over there. And especially with Mural Sketch, you almost certainly can make it as long as you've had 2 to 3 hits. It is crazy how good this add-on actually has become, the Never Sleep Pills. It is... I looked at it on PTB and played it, and I was like, this is kind of dumb. And then I started playing around with it, and especially more when it hit live, because I wanted to make sure it's in its final form. I never play much on the PTB or make videos on that, because everything's subject to change. I'd rather play on live and give you guys the actual review of it. Otherwise, I would have said BFF is garbage, because it was. But Never Sleep Pills, honestly, combine it with just about anything. The only exceptions being... where am I? Oh yeah, Stolen Sketchbook. This is like gimmicky. That's the whole point of this add-on, is just a gimmick of dropping items. So don't combine it with Never Sleep Pills. Never Sleep Pills should have stuff like the Mural Sketch. Even the Killer Instinct Detection range wouldn't be bad. Survivor's Mending, because you have so much time that by the time you notice, oh hey, I can't reach anybody, you can just get a good distance away to where they won't hear your grunts of pain, come out of your frenzy, and then go into the chase. You could obviously do it with this, because maybe you get to that person that stuns you at the pallet, you break the pallet, chase him back down. Or vault it and chase him back down. Any of the pins and mixtapes that give you, different status effects onto the survivors are all pretty decent. I actually can't wait to talk about this one, because I found some fun shit with this. But yeah, you really don't have anything bad with it. It even makes Frank's mixtape good. And I'm going to detour right now to talk about Frank's mixtape. This is your only options with Frank's mixtape. It's not good. Like, the add-on, it sounds amazing, but it's just not good. If you did this, I would say throw on like Brutal Strength. The only reason why is make that kicking fucking insane, and it's more for the gimmick than anything. Just fucking kick a wall down in like a second. Kick a generator, 1 second. Like, everything just goes so quickly that it looks kind of dumb, but it's also a little fun. Just to be mid chase and then just kick a gen real quick and go right back to chasing. And you don't even need to necessarily run Never Sleep Pills with that. You could run, Mischief List, Mural Sketch. There's a lot of things just because it pauses the timer. Now, anyways, that's enough on Never Sleep Pills and Frank's mixtape, second worst add-on that he's got. Now we get to finally Mural Sketch. Mural Sketch, just a 0.1 extra, because right now it gives 0.2 bonus move speed each stab, 0.1 extra. That's all you need. Perfectly fine. So, with that movement speed, what you want to do now is you want to find what you want to do with it. So what do I want to do with the extra movement speed? Well, I could go longer with Mischief List, or I can start getting status effects out there. Get everyone broken, get everyone mangled, so the healing time takes forever, and Thanatophobia takes over with that. If they're broken, Thanatophobia again. Hemorrhage is another one that now, because of the change, this is amazing. It is until fully healed. It is not 60 seconds. It is until fully healed. Take advantage of that. Get everyone in Hemorrhage, and then just start causing terror. If you know where a boon is, go to that boon. If you know someone that had a med kit, go to them after a little bit. Just give them a little bit of time to start healing, and then go to them, because they have to continue healing. Otherwise, they just start losing charges in their med kits. It's a great way to cheese out med kits. Or just give you extra time to find the boon, snuff it out, and then force them to have to heal through other people. Or if people try to heal on hook, you can cut that off, hit them with the borrowed time, or hit them with a frenzy to get their borrowed time out of the way. And now not only did you reset their healing progress, but anyone else that was probably healing before then, in their little group heal, now they're reducing that time. It is a great combination, and you don't always need the duration just because you have the speed. It works really well with BFFs. The movement speed also helps you get to those generators that are regressing that you can see the progress on. All in all, chef's kiss, fantastic add-on. Julie's mixtape. This one's an interesting one. You get your power gauge back when you get stunned. Combine it with enduring. Combine it with iridescent button. That's honestly the only combination, but it's the only combination you would need. Everything else in here, like these favor chain hits. Don't really need that. This favors information. I don't know what this favors. This favors, of course, more information. This is a gimmick. This is a gimmick. I mean, Filthy Blade, arguably you could just throw on anything. Adding 4 seconds is always nice. You could throw Filthy Blade on anything. So any of these add-ons, throw Filthy Blade on if you really want to just buy more time. BFFs, can't really do much with that. I mean, it is nice that you can get back out there and doing it. Besides that, though, I really never saw any other good combinations for this. Realistically, it's like I said, you can fill it with Never Sleep pills, but it is what it is. It's meant for the iridescent button gimmick, and that's pretty much it. All right, so Etched Ruler. Etched Ruler is quite a fun one because there's actually more to do with it than you think. So survivors are inflicted with the Oblivious status effect just from being hit by Feral Slash. So now, let's have some fun with that. How do we have some fun with that? Well, for one, stylish glasses. Stylish sunglasses. Shows the other survivors who are mending within 24 meters. You ran away. They don't hear the chase music. You get out of range of your power. Now, you go back to them. And you scare the shit out of them. Another thing, survivors mending. It's practically the same thing, but you let them finish the self-mending. So if you wanted to, like, either of these are really good to go back with the Oblivious. Filthy Blade. But anyways, I'm gonna stop talking about Filthy Blade like that. It's just kind of one of those add-ons. It's good, but it just fits with everything. But any of that is really, really good. It's primarily these two that give the information that can help a lot. If you mixtape, you can make the argument, and as weird as that is, you basically can look around and see where you need to go or if you can take this chase. That's how I would view doing this combination, is stab the person, see who's around you. Can you get another chain stab? No. See what's the closest gen to being done. Is it that far one off in the corner? Probably not worth going. Is it one that's maybe right around the corner? Alright, I'll go to it. This guy's in Oblivious for the next 60 seconds. Oblivious doesn't do a whole hell of a lot, but when you're focused on mending, when you're focused on healing, that's when you can slip up and get caught by Legion. So then you could go chase them off the generator, and then they're like, oh, hey, Legion's over by us on the gen. I lost him in chase. Well, okay, but I should hear him. No, you're Oblivious. Now you could potentially get caught, or get caught out, and then have to force throw a pallet, have to force a chase that just doesn't really work in their favor because they ran the wrong way. You can do a lot more with the Oblivious with Legion, but the absolute best I would say is the stylish sunglasses is the best you're going to get from this. Next up, Mangled. This is really good for perk combinations, more so than it is for any other combination of add-ons. Like you could do Mangled and Hemorrhage. That's the two that I found was the strongest together, is Mangled Hemorrhage. Because it just makes sense. Like I don't really need to over-explain some of this. If you know what Hemorrhage does, and if you know what Mangled does, it makes sense. Mangled, for those of you that don't know for whatever reason, it increases the time required to heal by 25% and lasts until fully healed. It says it right on the add-on too. This one will regress the healing progress when not healing, and increases the blood trails left by injured survivors. The blood trails, I honestly keep forgetting about because the only thing that matters is the healing progress. But these two combined, and then Thanatophobia, no one's healing. No one's getting away, and the other thing you could do is you could actually throw a Filthy Blade on here. I know I just said I wasn't going to talk about it, but this is the other thing that that I found was kind of fun, is just take a long time to mend, take a long time to heal. Just waste their time. That's all it's for, is just wasting their time. But this is like actually, if you're going to be playing it at like the silver to red rank level, this could work. this will actually be a really good counter to boons as well. Because once you hear a boon's up, you find the boon area, and it's going to take them so long that eventually they're either going to need to stop or just take another hit anyway and go down. And if they stop, well, now they just regressed all that progress, and now they're wasting their time, and you get a chase out of it. Next up, Legion Pin. Legion Pin's still one of my absolute favorite add-ons for this. Broken Status Effect is so strong, especially on Legion, because they just can't use medkits. Somebody brings in medkit, useless. Somebody brings in a boon, useless. Unless it's one of the other ones, but let's be honest, more people use the, what is it, the exponential that gets you up, and the circle of healing. Some use Shadow Step, but I think that's pretty much it. Nobody else uses this. I don't think there's any other one, actually, but this add-on, it's better to combine it with the Mural Sketch or the Mischief List, as talked about before. Just to keep them injured, combine it with Thanatophobia, and keep them, well, I guess struggling through gens is the best way to say it. Just Thanatophobia should always be on your Legion builds. Next up is probably the third worst add-on, Susie's Mixtape. This, I mean, you don't need the distance. And the only time that you can somewhat make this work is if you're using Never Sleep pills, but you're probably not going to make it anyway because of the speed. You don't need increased detection range. You really don't. The information you think would be nice, it can be, but if you got to take a full another chase and you know someone's over in a corner, not near a gen, it doesn't help you in that scenario. It just won't. If you know they're on a gen, well, now you got to think, do I take this chase or do I go over to that gen that may have progress or may be almost done? It's better to just know what's in your range than what's outside of your range. Stylish Sunglasses. These you can combine, pretty much I combine them with either Stab Wound Study or Filthy Blade, just because of the way they work. Obviously we talked about the Etched Ruler Oblivious. That is another fun gimmick. This one is actually, you can play at the upper level and it somewhat works out, but if survivors are really good at just paying attention constantly, which you can assume at the red ranks, yes, it won't work out all the time, but on indoor maps it works out a lot more than you think. For the Filthy Blade combination or the Stab Wound Study combination, that you could do just about any rank. Probably don't bring that to the upper ranks. This just won't matter. They're not going to do anything in your terror radius. Because even if you reduce this with Monitoring Abuse, it's your terror radius still. They're still not going to amend in your terror radius, most likely. They're going to try to get away. And for this, I mean, this is just, you can see them. If they're still mending or if they finish, then you can see where they go. So, like Midwich, you can see above you and see where they go then. That's pretty much, if you're going to take a Midwich, do this. So you can just always have information on the survivors. Stolen Sketchbook is just a gimmick. That is literally the whole point. I already told you it's the one thing that works with Smiley Face Pin. If you really want to collect a bunch of items, honestly, just take Frank's. It's just a better version. Because this requires the second chain hit and onwards. The first person you hit hopefully doesn't have a good item. So yeah, that's all I can say about that. Joey's Mixtape, already talked about. You want to combine it with the Mangled and Filthy Blade, and that's about it. You could also combine it with like Mural Sketch and any of the duration add-ons to just get more hemorrhage out there. Stab Wound Study, same thing, just combine it with one of these two. That's about it. That's about all you really want to do anyway. And then Oblivious. Frank's Mixtape, just Never Sleep pills. Just do that. Just do Never Sleep pills and just don't ever touch this add-on again. I mean, it sounds great, and I wish it actually had more use, but in reality, unless you're doing a gimmicky, like, low-level kicking pallets, I'm playing for fun, that's the only thing you're going to get out of this, is you're going to get some fun out of it at the lower levels, but once you get to the higher levels, this isn't going to do shit for you. Talked about this enough. BFFs. Mischief List, Never Sleep, Mural Sketch. Those are going to be your absolute best for getting these BFF chain hits, and even if you want to run this as your one add-on and nothing else, it still works. It's good. It's really good, and that end game, that 4%, is really nice. Helps you get to the doors a little bit quicker, especially if they're further apart. Helps you end chases a little sooner than they'd expect. Combine that with like No Way Out, so they can't get the doors open right away. Um, you know, it's clearly for an endgame build, so you want to run an endgame build, but if you don't, and you have that one survivor that gets to endgame, and then you close the hatch, you're gonna have an easy time finding them and guarding the doors, especially if you use your power to just run between them, because when it's the last person, you don't need your power at all for anything else besides running between the doors. And now finally the last two. So Fuming Mixtape and Iridescent Button. Iridescent Button, still just as good. You don't get the map-wide terror radius anymore, which is fine. Combine this with Julie's Mixtape, combine it with Mural Sketch, combine it with a Duration add-on, and you're in business. You want to be breaking down these pallets, and especially for those survivors that are on that 5th hit that are going to go down, this keeps them from dropping the pallet and you just go. I would have to say if I gave it my absolute best add-on for it, I would say it's probably Julie's Mixtape, just because say you miss a Feral Slash, or say you break a pallet and then run out, then you start running a loop, just swing through every single pallet. Just keep swinging through the pallets when you're about to catch them, and the moment that they stun you, you can then go into power, vault it, hit them, move on. It makes breaking pallets so much quicker, and on maps like the game where there's an absolute shit ton of them, you'll bust through those pallets in no time, and then they'll have nothing. Like you'll just have an open map and a bunch of survivors. That's all you end up with, which is great. I still absolutely love this. I think this is absolutely one of his best add-ons and one of my favorites. It's up there with Never Sleep Pills and Mischief List. These are like the top 3 add-ons, I would say. Mural Sketch is a close 4th, but I think due to the versatility of Never Sleep Pills and that duration, if the duration ever got nerfed down to like, say 5 seconds, I would say Never Sleep Pills would die off and Mural Sketch would be better. But for now, that you could run like old Legion, as I like to say, and you could run like a Legion pin and this, but the duration just isn't long enough to make Legion pin too great beyond one person. And then Fuming Mixtape, you want to combine this with either of the duration add-ons, primarily for the absolute best value out of it, so you can see where generators are going, regress the other generators that aren't getting worked on, and know where to go for stuff like Pop. It doesn't work with Ruin, which is a shame, and it only regresses at the 100%, so it won't regress a lot. Okay, don't make this be your only source of gen protection. You always want the Natophobia. You'll want the Scourge Hook if you have it, or Pop to make up for that. But from hooking someone, you can pop this and go right into finding the next person. Or if you're running barbecue, you know which gen they're sitting on. If they have 2 different gens, use your frenzy and run to whichever gen has the most progress, and then kick it with Pop. That's my best ways to use it, which seems pretty limited for an iridescent add-on, but compared to what we had before, this is a lot better, and I actually do prefer this because passively in Chase, you are regressing a generator. It may be a little bit, but we still kick gens even without Pop. So clearly the regression means something, and every little bit will matter, especially when you get into those 3-gen scenarios where you can chase off basically everyone. That's probably where this add-on shines the most, is just the 3-gen scenarios. But at the start of the game, or middle of the game, very good. If I had to say Fuming Mixtape, you could probably take it into the upper red ranks and find some success with it. You would really need to limit yourself, though, to the Mischief List and Never Sleep Pills at that point. I would say Mural Sketch has to be kind of kicked out of that talk. But Iridescent Button, Julie's Mixtape, I would say you can take all the way up to the red ranks and find plenty of success. I would say combine it with Enduring. I believe I said that before, but just in case I didn't, combine it with Enduring, and that will solve a whole hell of a lot of problems for you, between if you get stunned, if survivors, I think it actually does work with D-Strike, but yeah, it's just stunned. So yeah, D-Strike, if you get head-on, all that stuff. I just had to double-check the wording on there before I say anything, but yeah, if it should work with all that. I haven't been head-on yet in a while. I feel like survivors just aren't running it, and D-Strike I normally wait out, but it'd be something to check. If you ever try it out and it doesn't work, do let me know, because like I said, I haven't been just in the mood to check that. I haven't just ran across it because I'm just in the habit of waiting for D-Strike, and head-ons, I usually play them pretty well where I don't get stunned, or I already had a full gauge, so I couldn't tell. But all that, uh, all this is absolutely fantastic. I love what they did with Legion, and I love how it feels. You actually feel like you're a threat when you're in Feral Frenzy, rather than, oh, I'm going to get injured again, and that's all you are. So, I will do perk builds probably in the future, and I'll probably be doing some more Legion content, and of course, I'll be bringing in some Evil Dead content. I've been really enjoying that game. Still trying to get my footing, but yeah, let me know if any of these builds you found that you really like, or let me know your favorite build that you run. Like I said, I don't have Resonance. Still don't remember why I never just got the Artist, but currently this is my build I'm running. And if I had to choose my absolute like end build that I play a lot, it's this or Mural Sketch and Mischief List. Just because I don't do end game stuff, but I do enjoy BFF, so don't let that discourage you or whatnot if you're trying to just go for, or if you're just like, oh well, what is Scummy building? Well, no, I don't do many end game builds, but I do run this once in a while when I'm feeling like, okay, they got a bunch of toolboxes, or they got a bunch of flashlights and whatnot, or a bunch of med kits. Like if they got a bunch of one type of item, then I run something like this, just assuming that they're probably a good survivor or a good Swift. And if I'm going to get to the end game, I want to be able to do something in the end game. So, but this right here would currently be my rank 1 build. This is what I would use to get to rank 1, and this is what I've used in the past season to get to rank 1 again. Loving this build, loving the way it feels. Any of this stuff can be switched out, minus the Natophobia. I would say don't switch this out ever on your Legion build. And if you run Perkless Legion, that's fine. If you run Perkless and add-on list, I don't know what else I can tell you besides the base kit is actually a lot better than what it used to be. But if you run Perkless and you don't want to run all this, honestly, these add-ons could carry you alone, or even, I would say, probably stress more of the BFFs, just because gens do fly. And you're going to want that end game, that and Broken. So if you're running Perkless, BFFs, and Broken Pin, I think that would really be it. BFFs, Broken Pin, or Iridescent Button Julie's mixtape combinations. Then that would probably be the most that you can get out of it. I wouldn't risk the Never Sleep pills, just because they don't give as much reward for downing someone then and hooking them, because you don't have anything that necessarily works with you on that. It's just a hook, rather than a hook, and now it's a pop charge. But BFFs will get you there in the end game, and Legion Pin will help you keep pressure up. So those are what I can give you for recommendations. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a long time, and I hope it's not another long break. I'll get back to you guys with some more content soon as possible. Have a good time, and keep enjoying the Legion.